I've got a question. Is scoring 122 points in 40 minutes considered dominant? Scoring 50 more points than Canada and 60 more points than Greece, who both had top 5 players on their team. I'd say that's a pretty dominant performance from Team USA. And it's almost like everyone who said they were frauds after their 1-point victory against South Sudan during their exhibition games is looking slightly silly. Because so far, Team USA have played 4 games at the Olympics, and the closest win they've had was by 17 points against South Sudan. So I guess maybe South Sudan are the Team USA stoppers after all. Except the definition of stopping is slightly different when it comes to Team USA, because there is no stopping this team. You just have to pray that you can have the best shooting game of your life. I'm being so serious. You have 0 chance of stopping Team USA on offense. The only chance you have is to shoot 50% from 3 on the other side of the floor, because this is now the 4th game USA have played at the Olympics, and they have scored over 100 points every single time. Do you want to guess how many other times 100 points has been scored by the 11 other teams combined? The answer is twice. So even if you doubled the amount of games everyone played and combined them, you would only still have as many 100-point games as Team USA have had in just 4 games. Sorry if that sounds confusing, but basically this is a juggernaut unlike any other team in the competition. So again, you have to pray that every single shot you take will go in, and you still might not win. There's just a slight problem with that strategy. Not only do Team USA have an elite offense, but they have about 5 of the 10 best defenders in the NBA on their team as well. And it becomes real just how good this team is after the starters go to the bench. Because in the game against Brazil, Team USA started the game with LeBron James, Steph Curry, Devin Booker, Jrue Holiday, and Joel Embiid. 3 MVPs, a walking bucket, and then one of the best guard defenders in NBA history. Yet when those guys went to the bench, they brought in a lineup of Anthony Davis, Bam Adebayo, Derek White, Kevin Durant, and Anthony Edwards. The length, athleticism, rebounding, and defense is criminally good. And then once you sub out one of these guys, you can bring in Jason Tatum, who might be the most versatile player on the entire team. And within the first possession of Tatum being on the floor, he locked up Brazil's point guard, blocking his shot from about 30 feet out, which shouldn't be much of a surprise. Because I know it's been fun to hate on Jason Tatum, and I don't think Steve Kerr was wrong for benching him, but that doesn't mean Tatum isn't still an elite NBA player. For all the struggles he's had shooting the ball during the finals last year and now during the Olympics, we shouldn't forget that he is a 6'10", athletic, strong wing who can guard positions 1 through 5. That's not a word of an exaggeration either. Look at him here picking up Donovan Mitchell in transition, sliding his feet, and that length forcing Mitchell into a miss that you don't see from him very often. Or again against Mitchell, where even after he creates a bit of separation, Tatum's length forces him into such a tough reverse layup that he can't get it to drop. Or here, where he starts the possession by guarding Mobley, switching the handoff to then guarding Mitchell before swatting his shot. He was even chasing players around screens and blocking jump shots from behind during these playoffs. I know it's fun to hate on Jason Tatum, and he is an absolute stacked team. There is no question about that, but there's also no question about how much he can bring to any team when he's on the floor. Now, I mentioned he has a stacked team. Well, Derek White and Jrue Holiday continue to do what they do, which is defend at a ridiculously high level. In the first quarter alone, White and Holiday had 3 blocks on Brazil's point guards. And when you have guys this good making plays like that so early in the game, it starts to play on the mind of their opponents. All of a sudden, those guys aren't as confident driving into the lane or taking jumpers off screens, because they aren't just worried about the twin towers of Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo waiting at the rim, but they have to worry about these defensive monsters swatting their shots from behind. And then of course, you have LeBron James, who isn't the defender he once was, but he is still more than capable of blocking shots that seem like certain buckets. And it was another day, another game from LeBron, where some people would call it vintage LeBron? But is it really vintage LeBron when he does this every single game, finishing with 9 assists in just 17 minutes to go along with a casual 5 of 6 shooting from the field? And there was one specific stretch of the game which he had a major influence on that changed everything. Early on in this game, it looks like it was inevitable that USA were gonna blow out Brazil. I mean, anyone could have predicted that, but after a great start from USA, Brazil scraped it back to 34-42 with 4 minutes remaining in the half. Do you want to guess what happened in the next 4 minutes? They went on a 21-2 run in 4 minutes. A 21-2 run is insane, but to do it in 4 minutes, that shouldn't even be possible. And all of a sudden, any hope of Brazil at least hanging in until the 4th quarter, because let's be real, none of us thought they were gonna win, that had all gone in the space of 4 minutes. With this run capped off by an out-of-bounds play from LeBron, throwing a pinpoint alley-oop to Jason Tatum. You also got some help from Joel Embiid, who to his credit, knocked down shots. And I said this in the previous video, but the two guys who had struggled shooting the ball was the reigning scoring champion Joel Embiid and the greatest shooter of all time Stephen Curry. Think about that for a second. USA had played 3 games, all 3 of which had been blowouts, and the guy who averaged 35 a game last year was struggling, and so was the greatest shooter ever. So when those guys combined for 7 of 9 shooting today, well, any hope that Brazil didn't already have was crushed even further. And what really sums up just how ridiculously talented this team is, during the first quarter, the best player on the floor was Devin Booker. He was cutting, he was defending, he was knocking down every shot. He then got subbed out for Jason Tatum, and because of how well Tatum was playing on defense, Booker didn't get back in for the rest of the half. So when the third quarter started, well, you had a rested Devin Booker, and he just hit shot after shot after shot, finishing with 5 3-point makes in just 15 minutes, with him and Anthony Edwards combining for 35 points in 36 minutes of game time. So if you somehow manage to survive the onslaught from LeBron, Steph, KD, and Embiid, you still have to deal with 2 of the most explosive scorers in the NBA, and 2 guys who on any given night can hit 5 threes and blow the game wide open. Another thing about Team USA that just makes them flat out unfair is not only do they have the most skill, the most shooting, the best defenders, but they're also the best transition team, led by you know who, to go along with guys like Ant, Booker, and KD, not to mention you have Steph spotting up in transition. So again, I'm not sure how you are supposed to beat this team when you can't outrun them, you can't outshoot them, and you are most definitely not going to be more athletic than them, which leaves 2 more games left for Team USA to win gold. And standing in their way is the one individual player that will be able to go head to head with any single player on Team USA. The difference is you have to worry about every single player on Team USA, not just 1 or 2 stars like on the other teams. So unless Serbia has the best shooting performance of their lives, it seems very unlikely that even Nikola Jokic can prevent the inevitable from happening. Either way, it's going to be fun to watch. But with that being said, feel free to check out that video, subscribe if you want, it's free, dropping a like would be cool, but most importantly, thanks for watching and have a very great day.